So as we've been making our way through the Bhagavad Gita, we've talked a lot about truth and illusion and all the discipline it takes to really see things clearly. But after all of that, there's this one big question that just kind of hangs in the air, a really fundamental one.
I mean, after all this discussion about action and knowledge and working on yourself, what happens at the end, right? It's the question Arjuna finally asks. And honestly, it's a question we all have. When it's all said and done, does any of this effort actually matter?
Yeah, it's a heavy question for sure. And you know what? Chapter 8 of the Gita doesn't shy away from it. It dives right in, head on, and the way it answers is, well, it's pretty fascinating and maybe not what you'd expect.
See, the Gita doesn't go for the obvious stuff. It's not about trying to scare you with threats or promising you some kind of big reward. Nope, it's way more subtle and I think way more powerful. It's all based on this incredibly precise psychological principle.
And here it is. This is the core teaching of Chapter 8, laid out plain and simple. What truly matters is the state of your consciousness at the final moment. That's it. The state of your mind right at the very end, that is the whole game. So let's really dig into what that actually means.
Now you might be wondering, why here? Why talk about death right now? Well, it's no accident. Think about it. We've just gone through all this on action, discipline, and knowledge. So the Gita brings up death because, well, it's the ultimate test of clarity. It's like the final exam for everything we've been practicing.
I mean, just really picture it for a second. At that moment, everything we think we are, it just falls away. Your job title, gone. Your role in your family, it dissolves. Your social status means absolutely nothing. All that control you thought you had, it completely disappears. The mind literally has no energy left to put on a show or pretend to be anything. So, what's left when all of that is stripped away? What remains is what we can call your habitual consciousness. And that's the key idea here. It's your mind's default setting. It's the baseline that has been shaped by a whole lifetime of what you've paid attention to. It's who you are when you can't try to be anyone else.
And this is so important. The Gita isn't obsessed with death itself. Not at all. It's using this extreme scenario as a kind of magnifying glass, a way to reveal what actually matters in life. It forces us to ask ourselves, okay, what am I building in my mind moment by moment? Because that's what's going to be left in the end.
Okay, so to really get this, we have to be super clear on what this whole consciousness at death thing really means. It's a concept that's really easy to misunderstand, so let's break down the mechanics of how it actually works.
First off, let's get clear on what it's not. This is not about trying to think some special, perfect thought at the very last second. Come on, that's just not realistic, right? The body is failing, the mind is probably in chaos, there's just no space to pull off some last-minute mental performance.
Instead, the Gita's talking about a much deeper, more gradual process. It's like this. Whatever you pay attention to day in and day out, it carves these, well, grooves into your mind. Think of it like a path in a forest. The more you walk it, the deeper and wider it gets. And those paths become your mental defaults. So when death comes and you don't have the energy to blazon a trail, where does your mind go? It just falls right into the deepest, most well-worn groove.
And this is the absolute key. Death is a moment of revelation, not creation. It doesn't magically transform you into something you weren't before. It just reveals, in a really stark way, the main direction your mind has been pointed your entire life, whether you realized it or not.
This leads us to a really profound idea, the link between your attention and your very identity. The Gita basically draws a straight line from what you focus on, to what you remember, to who you actually become.
So, at that final moment, your mind isn't going to suddenly become wise. It's just going to do what's easiest. It'll follow the path of least resistance, which is always its strongest, deepest groove. So, if you've spent a lifetime digging a groove of anxiety, well, that's where your mind is going to go. But if you've been digging a groove of clarity and peace, it'll follow that one instead.
And it's really important to get this. This isn't about some cosmic judge giving you a score. It's not a moral judgment at all. It's just a neutral principle of psychological cause and effect. It's as simple as this. What you practice is what you become. Period.
Okay, so I know what some of you might be thinking. Hearing all this might make it sound, well, kind of dark, right? A little morbid, even. But that would be completely missing the point. So let's shift gears here and see why this is actually a deeply life-affirming idea. Let's just ask it straight up. Is this teaching just meant to make us scared of dying? Is it about obsessing over that one final moment we can't even control?
The answer is a huge no. Absolutely not. Krishna isn't trying to scare anyone. The whole point of this teaching is to get you to care, like really care, about how you're living right now, today. It shifts the focus away from a single moment in the future and puts it squarely on every single moment from now until then. The logic is just so direct. If your daily attention is all over the place, scattered, anxious, then your final state is going to reflect that. It has to. But if you practice being steady and focused, then your final state will be peaceful. See? Death doesn't create the pattern, it just completes it.
And man, this is where this ancient wisdom just hits so hard today. Just think about it. What are we actually training our attention on most of the time? Well, for a lot of us, it's a nonstop feed of anxiety from the news, comparing ourselves to others on social media, endless distractions on our phones, and just this constant feeling of wanting something else. That's what we're practicing all day, every day.
And the Gita's insight here is crystal clear. You cannot outsource the final moment from the rest of your life. You just can't. You can't spend your whole life being distracted and then hope to, find peace at the last minute. It simply doesn't work that way.
Look, peace at the end isn't some prize you win. It's the natural result, the byproduct, of a life lived with intention, with a trained mind. So in the end, death isn't this separate, isolated event over there. It's actually the final expression of how you lived your entire life.
So that leaves us with a really powerful question to think about for ourselves. What are your daily habits of mind training you for? Right now. Today. Because whatever that is the state you're getting ready for.